to the debut show of the HS Game Time Live. Blitz, I'm Pep Fernandez. This is Kyle Glazer. He's also the birthday boy today. Happy birthday, Kyle. 30, right? 35? Or 25? He's 25. Don't age me. I'm getting there. So we're going to talk a lot of high school football as we kick off the season, and also Week 0, all the upcoming matchups. We're at D-Dogs down here in downtown Riverside. It's the place to be, right?
Yeah, this is honestly one of the more beautiful sports bars I've been around. I'm definitely impressed with the joint. Right here in downtown, can't beat it.
Now we're going to break down a lot of the games, a lot of the storylines that you'll see for the upcoming football season, and also Week 0. But Kyle, we're starting off the season on a very tragic note for those folks at Arlington High School and everywhere in the high school football community. 16-year-old Tyler Llewellyn, who suffered an injury last week in a scrimmage, passed away late Tuesday night. So our hearts obviously go out to his family, everyone at Arlington High School. It's just absolutely horrific. And we talked to the principal at Arlington High School and one of Tyler's teammates with the Lions, so we're going to hear from them, and it's just awful news for the Arlington football community.
Well, we're definitely just really feeling the loss of Tyler. We're never really prepared for something like this, and a lot of our students and staff are really grieving his loss at this time. Right now, our focus is again to meet the immediate needs of our students, their emotional, personal needs in terms of their grief from this loss. So, and if there is going to be a game, if that decision is made, then there will be obviously a need to acknowledge and pay respect to the memory of Tyler Llewellyn.
It wasn't expected. When we found out about him, that day that it happened, we were scared. But I mean, it was Tyler. He's strong, like strong-willed, strong-minded. And throughout the week, we heard that he was getting better. Everything was. He started to breathe on his own. But then they just hit us yesterday with they're gonna pull the plug on him because there's nothing else they could do. We just.
All right, Kyle, we're back here live. Obviously, our sincere sympathies go out to Arlington High School and the family of Tyler Llewellyn. They'll actually play Chino Hills on Friday, and we talked to the principal, and he said as of right now there was no plans to cancel the game, but obviously you can assume there will be some sort of a tribute and acknowledgement of Tyler.
Definitely we'll be playing with heavy hearts, man.
All right, so obviously that's our focus and our thoughts as we go into Week 0, but there's also some games that we want to touch on, some storylines that we want to talk about here in the debut of the HS Game Time Live Blitz. Now, you're the new guy. I was the new guy not too long ago, so I know how you feel. So tell me about some of your expectations as you go into your first season of Inland Area football.
Well, I think the biggest thing I'm going to be watching, obviously we know Corona Centennial and Vista Marietta are two of the elite teams, not just in this section, in the entire state, some would argue even in the entire country. But I think the thing that has me most excited is the depth. You look around, every single league has teams you can see competing for a division title. You go and see Citrus Hill was 14-0 last year. Over even in the Inland Division, Rev, Eisenhower, Yucaipa all bring back lots of talent. They might be able to challenge Vista Marietta or Corona Centennial. What's going to happen at Norco? There's still a lot of talent there in Santiago. Really, every city has a team or two that you could reasonably argue has a chance to win a title. I think that's very exciting. There's a lot of Division I caliber athletes, a lot of great coaches. I really think we're going to be in for a year of a lot of parity, and that's going to make for some great high school football.
I think a lot of people would agree that there's Vista Marietta and Centennial and then a lot of other good teams. And we'll get to that a little bit later in the show because we, at HS Game Time, unveiled our top 10 list. And there's been some discrepancy of who we think should be where after Vista and Centennial. Now, the big storyline maybe going into the 2013 high school football season is all the coaching changes. You touched on Norco. I mean, and you've covered a lot of them also at La Sierra. So what are your thoughts on a lot of these coachings, the coaching carousel in the Inland Area?
16 teams are going to open the 2013 season with a different head coach than they did the 2012 season. There's not a lot of stability, but you have some coaches who are proven commodities. Don Markham, obviously at Pacific. Gordon Wood over at West Valley was very successful in the San Diego section.
Yeah, who are some of the guys that Gordon Wood coached at in San Diego?
Alex Smith, Reggie Bush. He coached from 2000 to 2003, went 46-6, hasn't coached since, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get West Valley contending in the Mountain Pass League. You also have some longtime assistants getting their first shot, Mike Clark at Eisenhower, Jeff Roney at La Sierra, Dennis Brown at Poly. You have all different types of head coaches, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see which ones see immediate success, which ones are going to have to build a little while. And unfortunately, the law of averages, some coaches aren't going to last very long.
And you mentioned Mike Clark at Eisenhower. You just did a story today in the newspaper in the Press Enterprise about Ryan Clady, right? Giving back. What was that all about?
Well, Ryan Clady graduated from Ike in 2004. He's now the All-Pro left tackle for the Denver Broncos. Donated $25,000 of his own money in equipment to Eisenhower. Now, Eisenhower, some of their pad girdles they were using were over 20 years old. Some of their helmets were at the tail end of their lives as well. He donated new helmets, new cleats, new gloves, new pad girdles for every member of the team. Really giving back to his community, even though he hasn't been around for a while. And I know the kids at Eisenhower were really excited about that.
And I think he just inked a 5-year, $57.5
million contract, $33 million of which is guaranteed.
So he's got some money.
He does.
He's doing all right.
His representative said, you know what, this is just the first of many. This is one of the situations where Ryan Clady has said, I want to help out my alma mater. I want to help them get the equipment they need to be safe and also look good. It'll be interesting to see if other alumni follow in his footsteps, because there's a lot of NFL guys currently playing that originated here in the Inland Empire.
Yeah, a lot at Colton High School. They had a group in the mid-2000s who played really good football. They won a championship in 2010, but they right before then, Brad Sorensen, Sharice Wright, they had some great players. Jimmy Smith,
Bradford.
yes. Which Alan Bradford, did you hear? He's now playing linebacker for the Seahawks.
Yeah, you know what? We see position changes happen all the time. Maybe it's one of the benefits of high school football. You have a lot of guys going both ways.
Yeah, you got to play on both sides.
You go to college, you play one way, but if you still have that versatility, look at Alan Bradford. The simple fact of the matter was he wasn't going to cut it at running back in the NFL. The fact that he was such a good athlete and was willing to transition to linebacker, he now has a shot.
And what's ironic, Kyle, is he went to USC and Pete Carroll used him at running back, and now he's in Seattle where Pete Carroll is now the head coach, and he says, you know what, we like you, Bradford, but we're going to move you to linebacker.
You know what? The coach's job is to put the players in the best position to succeed and to help their team out. The Seahawks feel like, hey, we can use him at linebacker. Marshawn Lynch running the ball might not have seen that much time on the field at running back.
Another big local name in the National Football League is Toby Gerhart, which leads us back to Todd Gerhart to Colton Gerhart. A lot of players. It's a weave here. A lot of players are on the move. The CIF made that rule last year where they could transfer. If they could prove there was a hardship, they could play immediately. If not, you had to sit out the 30 days. But Colton Gerhart, one of those high-profile names on the move, and you've been chronicling all offseason a lot of kids moving, right?
We have more than 50 varsity football players transferring to new schools this season. Some will be sitting out, some will be playing. Those are just the varsity guys. There are guys at the freshman JV levels we don't know about that have also moved. We've seen an exodus of players, and while many of them are going to certain schools, Vista Marietta got a lot of transfers this year, Brentwood's got a few, Norte Vista picked up a couple. They're really going everywhere, and it's just one of the can of worms CIF open. There isn't enough of a data set yet, if you will, to show how effective it'll be, how much of an impact it'll have. Anytime you have 50 guys changing jerseys, there's got to be some effect, to say the least.
We're looking at some video right now of Colton Gerhart. He transferred to Vista Marietta, but as far as we know at this point, he's not guaranteed, right, the starting quarterback job. You caught up to Colton at practice, and his dad as well, right?
Absolutely. I spoke with all of them, and they acknowledged that. They said that Colby Candell told them, you're going to have to fight for a spot. You're not going to come in here and be given anything, and that's part of what makes Vista Marietta such a great program. They make all their kids earn everything. So he's still on a fight. At the time, they said there were 6 different quarterbacks battling out. They've whittled that down a little bit now. Regardless, I still think he'll probably be the starter on day 1. But all these kids that are transferring have to fight. Jacob Jordan was an all-league quarterback at Summit, transferred to Roosevelt. We were told he's not even leading that quarterback competition right now. So even though these kids are transferring, they might not see the field. It shows the risks of just because you transfer to another program doesn't mean you're necessarily going to play there.
All right, Kyle, we're going to switch microphones real quick so we can bring Jim Alexander onto the show. He did a column about a week and a half ago that was, somewhat controversial because he did talk about what, high school sports and high school football is so dramatic and it's almost like a soap opera these days. But a lot of guys guys on the move, and they're going to make an immediate impact. And Jim was just shedding some light to what's going on in the world of high school sports, especially in the inland area when there's a lot of high-profile names. We're going to get cozy here, especially because it's Kyle's 35th birthday. 25th. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, 25th. But Jim, I'm glad you could join us here on the season debut of the Blitz. Now, yes. Jim's the elder statesman in the HS Game Time War Room. But Jim, talk about when you did this story. We all talked about it. We all knew what was going on. You just actually wrote about it, and it sparked a lot of talk.
Well, as a columnist, sometimes I'm allowed to rant, and I guess that would be considered a rant. It just seems that there's so much drama, and we had the three big stories. We had the La Sierra story, we had the Norco situation, and then we had the basketball deal at Corona Santiago. But I mean, besides those, there's all these little dramas going on. I mean, all the kids that are transferring, and I will say that if you haven't read the column, first of all, go back and read it, please, on PE.com. I got a ton of emails from coaches saying, thank you for saying what we've all felt, because in a lot of cases, the coach's job is twice or three times as hard as it has to be because of parents who believe, well, my kid's not playing, you're costing him a scholarship, it's your fault.
Now, Jim, talking about that, I got some of the comments off of Facebook, and let me just read one of them. You tell me if you agree, disagree, somewhere in the middle. This is from John Belton, and he says, the first overall pick in the NFL draft was only a two-star recruit coming out of high school. Oklahoma State's all-time passing leader was a walk-on, and the NFL's two best pass rushers, J.J. Watt and Clay Matthews, were walk-ons in college. Bottom line, if you have talent and work ethic, you will play on the next level no matter where you play your high school ball. Is that true? Do you have to go to a Vista Marietta or a Centennial to get noticed?
I don't think so, but I mean, a lot of parents believe you do, and they're all chasing the scholarship, they're chasing the pro contract for their kids, and God bless them. I made the observation at the end of the column that maybe parents should take a step back. I didn't mean totally disengage. I didn't mean no longer take an interest in your kid, but just take a step back and let the coaches do their job rather than trying to manipulate things, which is what seems to be happening in a lot of cases.
Let me read another comment and get Kyle's take on it as well. This is from Philip Cummings. He wrote, the innocence of sports from grade school through the collegiate ranks have been ruined by money and the pressure to get scholarships. Now, we've had stories in the newsroom about, I don't know, dads, I'm assuming, that's saying, hey, you didn't write a story about my son or daughter, so now they're not going to get a scholarship, or they're not getting the attention they deserve. And we've heard that more than once, right?
Yeah, we've heard that more than once. I mean, this is not the old days where NFL coaches looked up Street and Smith to do their drafting, okay? On the pro level, the college level, everything's pretty scientific, and what is printed in the newspaper is not necessarily going to get a kid a scholarship. Again, if you've got talent, they will find you. And if you don't have talent, it's not going to help.
And Kyle,
how much we put in the paper.
You've done some stories on this as well. Are the kids, transferring and looking for schools where they're going to get the best opportunity, or do they want to win? I mean, what's the bottom line? Scholarships, winning?
It really is a case-by-case basis. You have some kids that are transferring because they want to see, they think it's a better chance to get the CAF title. There's some who want to win because, from some misguided reasons, maybe they think that the coach at their school doesn't know what he's doing because he's not starting, so he must move to a different school. But I do think there are transfers that are genuinely okay, and genuinely for the right thing. Situation where maybe the coach isn't a very good coach, or the program, there's not the same brotherhood or healthy support that you need, and of a better program. Some kids will transfer because of that. It really is a case-by-case basis, but I definitely, in the short time I've been doing this, I see the same thing. My question to you is, how long have you been seeing this and thinking this? Because I felt like this column was a long time coming.
Yeah, it has. If I had to go back and think about how long this has been going on, I would say at least the last decade, where school shopping became more and more prevalent, where you had had a situation of the best schools, the best programs, all of a sudden are getting a lot of transfers, and everybody sees that, and the first thing they say is, well, there's undue influence. They're recruiting them. They're doing this and that.
Which is illegal, right? I mean, you can't recruit in high school.
It's illegal. But I'm not sure that that's necessarily the case. I mean, a Centennial football or a Vista Murrieta football, and Matt Logan don't have to recruit.
The name recruits itself, right?
The program speaks for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think more than anything, it's parents that are school shopping. And the transfer rules, I mean, the whole thing about, well, it can't be athletically motivated. How do you prove it? Okay? It doesn't matter. I mean, the horse is out of the barn and it's not coming back.
Any final thoughts, Jim? It was a great piece, and a lot of people reacted to it.
Well, I did get a little pushback from people that are saying, well, there are coaches out there that do this and that and the other. Maybe I'm sure there are. There have been cases of coaches that have abused their position. And if you're a parent, I mean, naturally you do have to pay attention to that and be vigilant. But there's a fine line between the coach is a bad guy and he's denying my kid his rightful due, or the kid is making us pay, or the coach is making us pay to play, or doing other things that are clearly illegal or immoral. So, I mean, parents take a step back. Don't completely disengage. Keep an eye on it, but don't try and manipulate things.
All right, Jim Alexander, great job as always. We want to thank the fine folks here at D-Dog's Restaurant for having myself and Jim and Kyle here. We're going to spin it around as what they switch microphones in a second. This is D-Dog's, downtown Riverside. This is the place to watch high school sports, college sports. I see some Major League Baseball on the televisions right now. So if you're on a Saturday or Sunday, want to come down and watch some football and enjoy some great gourmet hot dogs or hamburgers, or what Kyle prefers,
chicken sandwich.
Chicken
That's
sandwich.
What I'm all about.
That's what he's going to get on his 35th birthday tonight. 35? 25.
Am I really balding down
25.
much? Just a little bit, not that much.
25. Yeah, come on back. And you know who's doing our camera tonight? It's actually the great David Zink, the sports editor, the boss at the Press Enterprise.
This shows everyone does a little bit of everything. Even the editor's not sitting high and mighty in his office overlooking the city. He's down here doing the groundwork.
I think in Little League they called them the Rover. They just kind of played wherever they needed them. So that's D-Dogs. We are so thankful that they invited us in here to do our first live HS Game Time Live Blitz show of the season, Kyle. So it's good to be down here. And we actually have a little video. We came down here the other day, and what was it that you had? It was the chicken sandwich, right?
Chicken sandwich, some cheese, Thousand Island lettuce. I think that'll be my go-to thing when I come out here to watch my
That's delicious.
Sun Devils on Sundays. Or Saturdays, excuse me.
And here's the deal. They have all these toppings that you can put on it, whether you have the hot dog or the hamburger or the chicken breast. I mean, they've got anything and everything under the sun that you can add to, whatever you choose. I had because I'm pretty basic. I had the Coney dog. It had chili, mustard, and onions on a pretzel bun, and it was delicious.
You can put carne asada on a hot dog here. I've never seen that before.
That's what I'm saying. They have everything. So this is D-Dogs off University in downtown Riverside, and we're going to talk to their general manager, Ariana Mate, just a little bit later in the show, and she'll tell you some of the hot items that they have here at D-Dogs, what people are really buying up. And it's brand new. It hasn't been around very long. They're going to have their grand opening in a couple weeks. All right. Let's get the helmet over here. Kyle, can you grab all those papers?
Absolutely.
And a big shout out to Joe Garez and the folks at Harupa Valley, Supa Dupa Harupa Valley. Now this is a segment we call, make a case, or maybe we'll call it Tell Me Why, because that was Kyle's favorite Backstreet Boys song, Tell Me Why.
I was more of a larger than life type of guy.
Were you? In sync?
More my jam. 5th grade, 1999, they were all big. I I admit it. I think everyone was listening to him, even at
You were in the boy bands?
98 degrees. I listen to everything. You go from Eminem to NSYNC to some classic rock to, I believe Ja Rule was also pretty big at that.
Ja.
So I mean, you were all over the map.
We all love Ja. Okay, so here's the deal. We've got the Supa Dupa Harupa Valley helmet, and we've got some random questions that we're going to pull out, and we have to answer them. Even if they're ridiculous, we got to somehow make an argument why this could happen. So Kyle, since you're the birthday boy, 35 years young, go ahead and, or actually, no, I should be picking for you.
All right.
See, here, I'll take this one.
Also, I'm not wearing my glasses, so if you see me squinting to read the letters, that's what that is.
Okay, this is a good one. Kyle, tell me why, and all the questions will start with tell me why. Tell me why Centennial quarterback Robert Weber should be a Division I college quarterback.
Let me throw some names out for you, Pat. Seneca Wallace, Todd Reesing, Joe Hamilton, Doug Flutie, Chris Lee. All of those guys were under 6 feet tall and either won Heisman's, led their team to national titles, were in the top Heisman voting, set passing records. Quarterbacks under 6 feet can succeed in college football. And by the way, most of those names, with the exception of Flutie, those are all guys that have played in the last few years. Robert Weber has proven statistically through his on-field performance that he's a Division I caliber talent. The Centennial system has produced guys like Matt Scott, Michael Eubank, who would be one. Weber outperformed them.
He's got all the records.
If he was, let me put it this way, if he was 6'4", he'd be a 5-star recruit. But people are judging him, and coaches do this all the time, where they fall in love with a body type to the point they ignore his skill set. Once again, under 6 foot quarterbacks can't have success. I think at the school that is smart enough and forward thinking enough to offer Robert Weber a scholarship is going to reap the benefits. You're telling me a school like Wyoming couldn't use a kid like that? Of course they could.
And all he does is win.
Absolutely.
All he does, I mean, like same thing with like Tim Tebow. You know, people say, oh, well, he doesn't throw a pretty pass and he only completes 4 or 15 passes. He won in Denver. I mean, all you do is win.
You know what? Robert Weber, first of all, Tebow was a 5-star recruit who had his choice of colleges. So that just shows you Robert Weber put up as good a numbers, if not better than Tebow in high school.
So are you saying Robert Weber is going to the NFL?
No, but what I'm saying is Robert Weber has the toolkit to succeed. He has shown he can succeed. The only thing holding him back is short-sighted college coaches not doing the thing that would make their teams better, which would be give this guy a scholarship just as the guys who offered Hamilton and Leak and Flutie all found out.
Your boy Webb is a great quarterback. Did you mention Rudy?
I did not.
Okay. Next. We'll do a couple of these.
All right. Pep.
Yes.
Tell me why Heritage will finally win a CIF title in the Central Division.
Here's the deal. Craig Broach is really rocking the beard. He's always got a great. He's always. You got to fear the beard. I mean, Brian Wilson on the Dodgers has a beard, and he's James Harden. I mean, if you've got a beard, you're a winner. But here's the real deal. 2 years ago, they made the finals. Last year, they reached the semifinals. They lost in a heartbreaker to Kaiser. This senior class, and you know this from Heritage, they've got guys like Sione Takitaki, Lima Hifo, Matthew Palmer, E-Rod, my boy E-Rod, Evan Rodriguez. This is a great senior class. They've seen the other teams come up short. That's got to be motivation for Heritage going into the Central Division. And even though I think we at the HS Game Time, our preview for the Sun Belt League, I think we picked them third. I've got them number 1 in my preview for Sun Belt. I really just think they're stacked and they're senior heavy. And these seniors have been through these battles where they've come up so short, especially that heartbreaker last year to Kaiser. So any thoughts on Heritage?
I can see it. I can absolutely see it.
And the beard. And Craig Broach's beard. Okay, Kyle. Tell me why, this is right up your alley, tell me why Norco will be even better despite the loss of Todd Gerhart, Colton Gerhart, and Kwesi Meshack.
Well, I've got to make this argument, so I believe that Norco will be fine because they're going to return to that power run game. The thing is, they went 7-5 last year with the Gerharts in tow. It's not like this was a 12-0 team that lost everyone. They were only a game over 500, or 2 games over 500, but one loss here or there would have changed all that. So the thing is, I think they're going to move back to the power run game. Larry Baker knows exactly what he's doing.
There he is.
He's been at school for 20 plus years. He's a good coach, and Norco still has a lot of talent. Corey Roth, the offensive lineman, is coming back. They got some good transfers in from La Sierra on their roster. Taylor Willie, the linebacker. Norco is a good program. They've got a good coach leading them, and like I said, returning to that power run game might actually yield them more victories than they had a year ago. I can absolutely see that happening. I'm not making any promises, but I don't think it's unreasonable to say Norco went 7-5 last year. Could they be 9-3 this year? Absolutely.
That's part of the beauty of the game. You have to make an argument, whether it's a stretch or not. All right, next up.
Pat, tell me why a team besides Vista Murrieta and Centennial will reach the Inland Division title game, and which team will it be?
Here's how a team will reach the Inland Division Championship game. Centennial and Vista Murrieta will just stop playing football, and they're going to shut down the schools. Okay, that's not going to happen. But I think there's a team out there that they're going to need some help. Vista Murrieta and Centennial, if they go head-to-head with, let's say, a Santiago or a Redlands East Valley, they're going to need help. They're going to need Vista Murrieta or Centennial, let's say in the semifinals, to really shoot themselves in the foot. Because if they make mistakes, that's the only way you're going to capitalize on these teams, because they're just that good. They're loaded all across the board, and I think a team would need help and have like their best game. You got to have your best game, and Vista or Centennial really just make some errors, and they have to capitalize on those errors. If I was going to pick a team, I would probably go, and it's because I've seen them in practice, Kurt Bruick and Redlands East Valley. They're huge up front. They're going to fly around on defense. The only thing is, if they have a steady running game, if they can run the ball, control it, eat some clock, and punch in a couple scores here and there, I think they could give a team some trouble. But they got to play a perfect game, and Vista or Centennial would have to screw up somewhere along the way. All right. Oh wait, this one's for you.
All right. Give it to me.
All right, we'll do. We got a couple more. Let's see. Tell me why football teams in the Inland Empire are better than Orange County.
Well, first of all, it's kind of 6 of one or half dozen of the other. I think you're talking about two of the best regions for high school sports, period, in the entire country. I'll take the Inland Empire because I think there's an extra level of toughness. It's a little rougher out here. It's a little more hard-hitting. We've seen a lot of teams from the Inland Empire play teams from Orange County, and they've held their own. Centennial always scheduled some tough teams. Santiago's had a couple games. Norco's faced some. I think the Inland Empire is proving they can hang with those teams. Now we take into account the new facilities that are being out here. New schools are opening up. I talked to a lot of coaches in Orange County, and they admit they're jealous about some of the facilities out here, and they absolutely respect the level out here. I think we've also seen 30, 40 kids from the Inland Empire get scholarships out of the Inland Empire the last couple of years. You haven't seen that many out of Orange County. You've seen a lot, but not quite that many. I'll leave it to the college coaches. They've decided the Inland Empire is every bit as good, if not better than Orange County. That's enough for me.
And I think what's very telling is whoever wins the Inland Division CIF Championship is always in the running to play in what, we have the state playoffs now. There's a regional game before the state championship, but you always have to consider who wins the Inland Division Championship. And of course, a lot of those Orange County teams are also in the mix, and
Servite, Modern Day.
Yeah, Modern Day. Let's see, Santa Margarita was always mentioned. St. Bonaventure up the coast. I know it's not Orange County, but out in the IE, pretty good football. All right, how about one more for me? All
right,
and then we'll call it a wrap this week on this. On Tell Me Why, Kyle Glazer's favorite Backstreet Boys song.
Tell me why the Redlands head coach Jim Walker should return next season. Wait, are you supposed to read this to me? You just answered the Inland Division one. You're supposed to read this to me.
No, that was yours. I was just following on the tail end of yours.
That's right. Okay. Apparently, I'm getting amnesia on my birthday as well.
Now, Jim Walker's been at Redlands, I want to say it's 21 or 22 years. I don't have the...
1992 is his first year, so this would be
21? 22 or 23?
It's 22 because if you count 92, it's like counting to zero. This is 22.
I don't really do math, but here's what I do know. That Jim Walker has found the fountain of youth. Have you seen him lately?
He's definitely energetic and ready to roll, that's for sure.
And more importantly, Kyle, he's got his mustache back. When I talked to him, he said that when he first got to Redlands in what, you said 92? In 92, he was rocking the mustache and he was running the wing T offense. He's bringing the wing T back. He brought the mustache back. It's like the fountain of youth. He's re-energized. He's ready to take on the world again. So I think Jim Walker is good to go. Now, there's a lot of speculation last year that he would retire because his son Jimmy was the quarterback, and that was his senior year. And then after Jimmy was done, Jim Walker would ride off into the sunset. But he's back. You know, honestly, I don't know if he'll come back after this year, but I feel like he's kind of turning back the clock and going back to his roots, and maybe he feels younger. I mean, you've talked to Jim. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely energetic and excited about this upcoming season. He didn't have to come back this year, but he chose to. And I think we've established he's one of the winningest coaches in Inland Empire history. He always has competitive teams. You know, Redlands, they didn't win the CBL last year, but they did make it to the quarterfinals and the playoffs farther than any other CBL team. He's still on his A game, and if he's going to start partying like it's 1992, the Terriers might be a team to look out for.
All right, once again, we are live at D-Dog's Restaurant in downtown Bakersfield. I'm Pep Fernandez. That's Kyle Glazer. We're going to talk to the general manager, Ariana Matei, in just a little bit. And we're just thank you for joining us on our debut show of the season for Week 0. So every Wednesday night, Kyle and myself will be previewing that week in high school football, even though tonight's show is more of a look at the entire season, right?
Absolutely. You'll see as we go week by week, we'll get more into the nitty-gritty, the games that happened last week, analyze them a little more, look forward to the games of the week. But yeah, kickoff's tomorrow. Right now, it's all big picture stuff.
Yeah, so Week 0 Thursday night games, and let's see if I get this right. It's we're going to be at the same game, right? Chafee at Yucaipa at Chafee.
Yep.
We've got Cypress at Lakeside, and also Rubidoux at Ramona.
Yep.
So 3 games on Thursday night. We'll have those highlights tomorrow night on HS Game Time, and Kyle will have the complete story for Yucaipa.
Arizona State Sun Devils kick off tomorrow night against Sacramento State.
Oh, the Hornets! I'm from Northern California. Do you remember a Sacramento State quarterback named Ricky Ray?
Yeah, actually.
He went to the Canadian Football League. That's my buddy. Quick story. So he used to drive a Frito chip truck. You know chips, Fritos?
Yeah.
He used to drive a Frito truck. He got with the Edmonton Eskimos up in the Canadian Football League. He made it big up there, became like a national hero, and they called him Frito Ray because his name was Ricky Ray. He went on to win the Grey Cup a couple times. So anyways, he's the only guy I know out of Sacramento State. So you guys better watch out at ASU. You're a Sun Devil, right?
About 55-10. Yep, Sun Devils all the way, baby. ASU.
And I should mention, I know you don't want to hear this, but USC also plays tomorrow night. Sua Cravens, a Vista Marietta guy, looking like he's going to get the start in Hawaii.
He's getting some love as a preseason favorite for Pac-10 Freshman of the Year.
And what high school did he go to?
Vista Marietta.
Oh, thanks for mentioning Vista Marietta, Kyle, because that's where we're going next. Vista Marietta versus Centennial, okay? The 2 big heavyweights in the Inland Division, they've met for the CIF title 3 years in a row. It looks like it could be number 4. We just touched on it in the Tell Me Why game. But seriously, Vista Marietta and Centennial, tell me why they appear to be at least on a collision course to meet once again for the title.
I mean, you look at, I'm a history major, so I believe that history tends to repeat itself. So that in and of itself can tell you, yeah, Vista Marietta and Corona Centennial are probably on a collision course. Once again, you have 2 of the best head coaches in the area, Matt Logan and Coley Candell, and then the talent. Vista Marietta right now has, I believe, 8 or 9 guys with D1 scholarship offers and many more to come. Corona Centennial, once again, I believe they have 4 or 5 guys committed, another couple guys that also have offers. Really, you're talking about those 2 teams alone have a combined 20 scholarship offers, I think. That's more than the rest of the Inland Empire combined. These are clearly the 2 best teams in the Inland Empire. You could argue by the time this year is said and done, these could be the 2 best teams in the state, or at least the southern section. St. John Bosco is getting a lot of love. Long Beach College,
St. John Bosco.
Great. But I mean, no one would be shocked if Centennial and Vista Marietta end up being the top 2 teams in the entire section, if not the state.
And Centennial will play Long Beach Poly. Wouldn't it be crazy if somehow they met both undefeated in the Inland Division Championship and somehow they were both pushed into the state playoffs? Because if someone went undefeated, won the Inland Division title, they could go in what they call the Open Division Championship, and the loser could technically go to the Division 1. So that's how strong the Inland Division is. And speaking of, let me call up this graphic real quick because we just did our HS Game Time top 10, right?
Yes, we did. We all of us writers, video folks, we voted on it and made it up.
And I really didn't know it was going to be such a hot button issue. So we put this out in this. I guess it will be out tomorrow actually. But here's our top 10 because we did the league previews, and a lot of people they got all fired up, Kyle, because they want respect. And I mean, we can only pick 10.
Right.
And if you look right here, here's our top 10. We've also got the numbers in parentheses. It's a little difficult to see. I'm going to try to punch this. No, we'll have to go back here. But here is our top 10. And here's how many votes across the HS Game Time staff.
Point system made by Eric Paul Johnson, our esteemed beat writer.
It's kind of like BCS in a weird kind of way. But as you can see, Centennial, Vista Marietta 1 and 2. A lot of people flip-flopped on that, had Vista 1, Centennial 2. And then after that, I mean, it's really a logjam. You can make a case for any of these teams to follow up Vista Marietta. Rancho Verde at number 3. They lead the pack of the next group of teams. You feel comfortable with the Rancho Verde, being that number 3 team?
Absolutely. Rancho Verde was the team I picked number 3. I actually think that in terms of overall talent, they might. It's hard to say they're on the same level as Centennial and Vista Marietta, but it's not a huge gap. You look at Shriver Jones, Tavita Huilo, Deontay Estes. That's a program that has consistently been one of the best, once again, in the entire section. I think they could be in for a big year, and really, at least the eye test, yeah they could be as talented as Centennial and Vista Marietta by the time the season's over. It wouldn't shock me.
And here's the deal, like, if you look at the top 10, Citrus Hill, the Rancho Verde, Heritage, they could all run the table in their leagues and in their division, so they're probably not going to get kicked out of the top 10. But if you look, Norco, Santiago, Centennial, they might beat each other up a little bit. Someone might fall out of there, someone might climb in. The only Citrus Belt team we have is Redlands East Valley. So CBL down this year. I mean, Redlands Ukaipa looks pretty good. Redlands looks pretty good. Eisenhower, I mean, they're good.
I think what it is Eisenhower and Ukaipa, the two teams that look like they have the most talent on paper, have question marks outside of that. Ukaipa, they haven't really shown that they can be a dominant force yet. They haven't proven they can rise to the top of the league. Eisenhower has a new head coach, Mike Clark, who I believe in, a lot of other people believe in, but Vinny Fazio is so highly regarded, a lot of people aren't sure if Ike can have the same level of success without Vinny Fazio and his staff. I would not be shocked at all if I could see Ike rising as high as number 5 in this poll, maybe even 3 or 4, if the coaching, if Coach Clark is able to continue that. The talent's there. My super sleeper team to rise up eventually.
Super sleeper?
San Gorgonio. They have 10 returning all-league guys, plus they bring in Wesley Hill, who ran for over 1,200 yards at Cajon last year against those CBL defenses. He had a couple 200-yard games. I could absolutely see San G shocking everyone, really rising to be the cream of the crop in the Eastern Division by the time the season's over. Seeing them in the top 6 wouldn't shock me.
Now, what's interesting, we touched on this, that Heritage checks in at number 7, yet we picked them number 3 in their league. So you know what I mean? It's we'll blame the computers, like the BCS computers. We'll blame them. But if you look at it, and you mentioned Vinny Fazio, Marietta Valley checks in at number 8. They lost a lot of good players from last season, and they had a very good team last year. But just the fact that Vinny Fazio's down there, I think a lot of people are giving the Nighthawks some credit as the second best team out of the Southwestern League.
I've been on this job for 6 months now. The coaching names that kept coming up to me is, this guy's great. I knew about Matt Logan, I knew about Coley Kendall, I knew about Todd Gerhardt. But really, I had no idea who Vinny Fazio was, and since I've come here, his name just keeps getting brought up to me from coaches, players, people who are in the high school football world. He's so highly regarded for a guy who's only had 1 year of varsity head coaching experience, but we see just how much respect he's gotten as a coach.
All right, Ariana Mate, the general manager of D-Dogs. We're going to get you in just a second. This will make sure you're standing by and ready to go. We're at D-Dogs in downtown Riverside. This is the place to watch sports and grab a gourmet hot dog, or like the birthday boy Kyle, who just turned 35, he likes the chicken breast. 25. I'm getting old. See, I'm already losing my mind. He's only 25, folks, but you like the chicken breast. They also have burgers.
I know. I haven't had a burger yet. I might go with that tonight for dinner.
You can build your own. I went with the Coney dog because I'm very predictable. I'm a creature of habit. I love chili dogs, so
There
you can't go wrong.
If it works, it works.
So we're going to get the GM on in just a second. You pick 'em contest. If you go on to hsgametime.pe.com, you can sign up now, and you play it throughout the entire season. Now, I'm proud to say I finished dead last, Kyle. Last year, I finished dead last. David Zink, our sports editor, yes, David, you finished first. You're the man. You're so cool. You're cool. I'm dumb. So this is your first year doing the Pick'em show. So I'm going to put you on the spot with some Week 0 games. We'll just take 2 of them.
Baby.
So real quick, we've got the Rancho Verde taking on Elsinore. This was a battle last year.
Twice.
Now, on paper, yes, twice. They played in the playoffs. On paper, the Mustangs look like the better team, but Elsinore snuck up on them last year early in the season.
They did, and Elsinore, Tony Peralta, I think is one of the finer coaches in the Inman area as well. I got to know him a little bit at my previous job. I think that Elsinore's going to come to play. Ryan Laverdiere is one of the top linebackers in the area. I am picking Rancho Verde, Shriver Jones, like I said, that offensive line. Keyshawn Slaughter's back. Rancho Verde, I do think they will avenge the opening day loss last year and continue the fact that they actually beat Elsinore in the playoffs. But once again, would an Elsinore win absolutely shock? No.
Absolutely not. Okay, and the other one I want to ask you about, Murrieta Valley and Temescal Canyon. Now, you just talked about Vinny Fazio, and when I talked to him when he first got the Murrieta Valley job, I said, what kind of football do you play? He said, bad mood football. He wants his players to get to the ball in a very bad mood and play physical. So Murrieta Valley taking on Temescal Canyon, which I saw the Titans just last Friday at a scrimmage, and they look good.
Sean Trimble, their quarterback, is a great athlete. He's going to play baseball at Long Beach State. I think this is definitely one of those toss-up games that's really hard to pick. I think this was the one I had the most trouble with.
Actually, at quarterback, let me jump in there real quick. Marcus Kirkpatrick was playing quarterback for Temescal. He's more of like an athlete.
Okay.
So he's the new Colin Kaepernick style of a quarterback. So I don't know if Trimble's shutting it down because he's going to focus on baseball, but Kirkpatrick was the guy under center, and he was doing well. He was really running that offense.
One of the better cornerbacks in the area, so that athleticism is there. This is a tough game to pick. I am picking Murrieta Valley, but there's not a whole lot of huge confidence in that pick. You can flip a coin on this one.
All right, finally, the star of the show, Ariana, please make your way over to the table. She is the general manager of D-Dogs. We're going to have to switch the microphone real quick. This place is popping. It's a Wednesday night. The place is packed. And I'm sure on a Saturday or a Friday night or a Sunday, this place is really popping off. So, Ariana, you're the general manager of D-Dogs. What is D-Dogs all about? I'm looking around seeing huge TVs with games all over the place.
What we're all about? Well, we're sports, hot dogs, hamburgers, your all-around American family restaurant. We want mom, dad, the kids to come here to have a good time. That's what we want. If you look around, you have kids everywhere. You have adults at the bar. We have microbrews. We have about 38, 39 different types of beers on tap. We have about 30 different bottled beers. A little bit of everything. I promise you, if I can't find something for you, there's an issue.
And if you want to watch the game, I'm sure on Sundays and even Saturdays now that college football's starting, this place is going to be packed, right?
We have every game playing all the time. We have.
I see Angels. I see NFL. I see was that MMA or something over here? Red Sox. I mean, you have it all.
We do, and we're really excited about it. We want to be the #1 sports bar in Riverside, and that's what we're going for. We have a couple models. One, we are the coldest beer in California. No one can top that. End of story. Two, we have the most amazing food. Three, we have the coolest service you'll ever find. That I can guarantee.
Let's talk about the food, because I really enjoyed the gourmet hot dog I had last week. I had the Coney.
Very nice.
You have all these toppings that you can select. I mean, can you rattle off maybe some of the more obscure ones that people really enjoy? Like Kyle brought up carne asada. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody puts carne asada on their hot dogs. Nobody would ever think of putting pastrami on their hot dogs. We have a neon green relish. It's our Chicago style relish. There's a couple things nobody would ever think of, and that's us, from grilled onions to sriracha sauce, spicy chipotle sauce.
What's your favorite? I mean, if you were going to build your own hot dog or hamburger.
It's the pastrami hot dog on a pretzel bun with the Bourbon Street sausage. You have to have that.
Hey Kyle, what did you get the other day when we came and tried out D-Dogs?
I ended up just getting a chicken sandwich, white bread, lettuce, cheese, $1,000. It was pretty simple, but yeah, I wanted to ask, where did you get the idea to throw pastrami and sriracha and carne asada on a hot dog? No one's ever thought of that before, to my knowledge.
Well, that was all my idea. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, the menu compliments have to go to our owner, Dara Hertz. He designed the menu. I was brought in to help him put it together. This is his concept. This was his dream, his vision with his partner, Lauren Brower. It was them. They wanted this for the last couple years, and they finally decided that Riverside is in such need of something like this that they came up with this concept, and it's been a work in progress, being in the kitchen for a couple weeks, testing a million items until we got the perfect menu.
All right, real quick, Ariana, what is the hot ticket? What's the most popular item that you have here at D-Dogs? What do people come in for? Is it the hot dog? Is it the chili dog? I mean, is there something specific that people come in for?
You know what? From the chili dog to our Mac Bites, we are getting ribs on our Mac Bites.
Wait, what's that? What's that?
Our Mac Bites are macaroni and cheese deep fried.
Oh my!
Gouda cheese and jalapenos, you can't go wrong.
Sounds delicious.
Delicious and terrible.
Oh yeah, absolutely, but so amazing at the same time.
Might have to get some tonight.
Yes, you do. I'll feed you.
All right, Ariana, Matei, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We are live at D-Dogs. And Kyle, we're going to close the show real quick. And Ariana, maybe you can, maybe we'll spin the camera around one more time before we close the show. And Kyle, go ahead and switch your microphone. And we are going to pick a D-Dog top dog, a player that we think on Thursday or Friday night might have a big game and lead their team to victory. So quickly, Kyle, who is your D-Dog top dog for week 0?
For me, it's going to be Citrus Hill running back PJ Walker. They're playing Riverside Poly. Last year, Walker ran for over 330 yards and 5 touchdowns against Poly. This year, they don't have quarterback Trevor Hodge. They don't have wide receiver KJ Young. Early in the season, they're going to be feeding the ball to Walker a lot. He's going to get a lot of carries. I think he's going to have an absolutely enormous game. He might surpass that 330 yards and 5 touchdowns from last year.
All right, in honor of Robert Griffith III, RG3, being cleared to play for the Washington Redskins, I'm going with Billy Gustafson III, and they call him
BG3.
BG3, the Ukaipa quarterback. I think he and the big tight end or wide receiver Brandon Scott at Ukaipa, who's going to the University of Nevada Wolfpack, I think those two are going to have a big game against Chafee. They're going to start off the season right, and I think Ukaipa is a team to watch in the Citrus Belt. So BG3 and his white cleats, that's my guy in week 0. He's my D-Dog top dog.
There we go.
Kyle, any final thoughts as we head into week 0 and the inaugural show of the Blitz here?
You know what? I'm just excited to get the actual season started. There's been so much build-up, so much hype, so many off-season distractions. Now it's time to play the games, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so every Wednesday night, we will be live at about 5:30 as we break down the week in high school football. We'll talk about the big storylines, the matchups that week, and we'll also have a lot of fun. So thank you so much to the fine folks here at D-Dogs. They are the best, located in downtown Riverside. And if you're like Kyle, come down and celebrate your birthday at D-Dogs. Happy 35th, Kyle.
Thanks,
I'm just kidding. He's not that old.
Happy 55th.
Thank you. All right.
Here.
For KG, I'm Pep. We'll see you next time on The Blitz.